Well, it's the strongest ever women's tournament to be held in the history of chess, and it was a race to the finish between the current world champion Zhu Wenjun and Koneru Humpy. As it turns out, the 8th round, the penultimate round, turned out to be the critical one in this race between Humpy and Wenjun, where Humpy scored a win against Gunina and moved to 5.5 out of 8, and Wenjun lost to 16-year-old Yip Carissa, and now she's on 4.5. So Humpy is the sole leader. Only Koschenyuk is on 5 points, half a point behind her. But it seems like Humpy has excellent chances to win. The game that we are going to look at in this video is Humpy versus Gunina in the 8th round. And from this video, you can learn how even top players get it absolutely wrong in the opening sometimes. You know, they have not done their homework, and they sometimes just make mistakes which you may not imagine them to be doing. So let's have a look. It was knight f3 by Humpy, strong solid move, d5, and she went d4, taking it into the queen's gambit territory. c4, e6, knight c3, and we have the Semi Slav, a very aggressive system, you can say, sometimes even solid. A lot of different ways for black to play here, but essentially this triangle setup gives black a lot of flexibility. At the right moment can take here, sometimes cannot, need not take, can castles, play b6, bb7. This is how usually play goes on. It has been played extensively by Vishy Anand, who scored some brilliant wins in it. You would remember Aronian versus Anand, the famous game from Vaikanzi 2013. Now, Humpy played the very solid e3. She could also go bishop g5 and it leads to more sharp chess. But e3, knight bd7, bishop d3. And here, you know, this is the main move. Queen c2 is often played to, you know, delay the development of this bishop. If you play it here, then after takes, you need to move it again. While with queen c2, if black takes, then white can say I saved the tempo. So bd3, dc4, bishop c4, b5, bd3 back, bishop d7, and here white simply castled. Black played a6. And now the main idea of this entire setup is c5. Games often revolve around it. If black gets c5 comfortably in, then he would be fine. If he doesn't, then, you know, white would get an advantage. So I want you to take some time here for all those who are seeing this position for the first time. What are the different options that white has here? And for those who already know it, well, this is a very well-known position. Over maybe 5 to 10,000 games have already been played here, so it's nothing new. But I sometimes feel like if he wants to go c5, then b5 could be softened up, and therefore a4 looks a very logical move. And in this way, you can often play some pretty interesting chess. And then b4. Now if you go back here, then anyway black will go c5, so you must continue with something like knight e4. When perhaps c5 is possible, perhaps it is not, you need to calculate. So this is how you try to think in the opening. Of course, Humpy went for e4, and this is the other way to play here. You say to black, okay, you're getting in c5, that's fine, play it, but I'm going to make use of my lead in development here. My king is safe, your king is still in the center. So after c5, there are essentially two ways to play this position. One is d5 and the other one is e5. d5 is much more popular, and this is also what Humpy played. Now in the game, he played queen c7 is one of the main moves. In the game, c4 was played. I just want to show you that if queen c7 is played, then after de, fe, bishop c2, bd6, knight g5, this is usually how play continues. Black goes knight f8, defends this pawn, and tries to say to white that yes, I have a weakness on e6, but I have active pieces. ed5 is of course not going to work here, because after takes, first of all it opens up the e file, and then secondly, if you try to win a pawn, you are not going to win it, because I can take a pawn. I can even consider inserting rook e1 check, and black is in trouble. So c4 was played, bishop c2, queen c7, and now take on e6, f e6. And here it is important for white to do something. Let's say if you are white and you don't do anything special in this position, then what black will do is play bd6 first, then castle, and then rook d8. And I think black has a great position. This weakness is there, but still look at the activity of his bishops. And this is what Semi Slav is all about. It gives black really good activity. So it was important for Humpy to do something in this position, and she went knight g5, attacking this pawn. She could have even gone knight d4, that's also possible, but knight g5 is more popular. And now here the main move is knight to c5, defending this pawn, and now white starts to think about doing something, because otherwise black is just going to push him back. Also bd6 is coming up. So e5 is the most natural move. You take rook e1, and this is how many games have continued. If you take here, already black is better because his king is safe, rooks are connected. So you don't take it, you play bishop e3, threatening to take here and then take here. So castles, rook a d1, bishop e7, take on c5, knight e6. And this was the game, I think, Gelfand versus Matlakov. Pretty well known position, and I think around equal 100 odd games have been played here. So you can imagine how popular this position is. Now queen c6 was played in the game instead of nc5, queen c6. And this is where I think opening preparation comes into the picture. Now Gunina took 3 minutes 47 seconds for this move, which clearly means that she was not very well prepared. Even while she played the move c5, she took 3 minutes, then 3 minutes for c4, then 3 minutes or 4 minutes for queen c7. So she was not so well prepared, and this queen c6 move is a mistake. And the funny thing is that Humpy has played this position with white against none other than Anatoly Karpov. Karpov played queen c6, and here Humpy played the best move. So I want you to take some time and figure out what is the best move in this position. Well done if you spotted the move queen f3. The point is to shift the queen to h3 to attack not just e6, but also create some threats around the h7, g6, h5, all these squares. E5 starts becoming a threat. So queen f3 is a really good move in this position, and white already has a very big advantage. h6 was played. This was also how Karpov played. And if you are going bishop c5, queen h3, king e7, then after rook e1, you can imagine that in this position black is going to have a very tough time. e6 is weak, king is still in the center. h6 was played, and here queen h3 makes complete sense. Of course you don't want to go knight h3 after g5. You are just the knight is completely out of the game and black is better. So queen h3, and here after 21 minutes of thought, Gunina took on g5, which clearly means that she didn't find a good way to solve her problems. Karpov had gone knight c5, but after bishop e3 he also started to face problems, because now take here and take on e6 is a threat. So he played bishop c8, and once you have to make moves like bishop c8, you can understand that the position is going wrong. e5, hg, queen h8, bishop b7, f3, and Humpy was already winning the game. She simply won in another 20 moves, 15 moves. So hg5 was played by Gunina, but after queen h8, there's no compensation for black. Knight e5, bishop takes g5, And I think we could already stop here, but I'll just take you through to the end of the game. Humpy finished it off pretty well. If you play queen e5, bg6 is pretty good. Knight e5, bishop f6, queen h5, and now just exchanging pieces. I think here black could have put up better resistance by offering a queen trade here. So take, rook e1, knight d5, and play this endgame, but I don't see after rook d6 any chances of surviving here. So bishop c6 was played, and then Humpy took, rook e1, knight d5, exchanged further pieces, and after check she finished it off very accurately. There's a mate on g2, so first bring the queen to g7 and then attack the knight. This is all over. c3, bc3, and Gunina resigned. A great win for Humpy, but at the same time you can see that for a player of Gunina's level, who is one of the top in the world, this was not good opening preparation. In fact, Humpy won this game without too many difficulties. Now, how do you prepare such openings is the question, and how do I know that a game with Karpov was played beforehand, and what was the best move and all of it. I'm going to show you. There are two methods of learning this, and this is what I will discuss now. So what we are looking at here is the full screen of chess base 15. This is where the game is open. You have the board, the notation here. Now let me go to the opening and let me make a few moves. So we reach this position of Semi Slav, which I said is one of the most critical here after d5. And I want to see what are the possibilities for black here. I want to prepare this opening as white. How do I do it? Now there are two ways. One is that I can press enter and it loads the live database. As you can see, the games got loaded here in this bar, and you will see queen c7 is played 2471 times, c4 is played 1032 times. And I see there's this game between good players, Matlakov and Gelfand. I can also arrange it as Elo white. So all the top Elo players come on the top. So Carlsen Shirov is the game. I can click here and the game loads up. I can now play through this game and see what happened. Okay, this was interesting. I can learn from it, and then I can say restore game, and I'm back to where I was. So the live database is extremely powerful, and it also helps you to understand what was happening. Like here, as I mentioned, there was this game, queen c6 was a mistake. Humpy already played it with Karpov. It's already there in the live database, and I feel that a player of Gunina's level should have prepared this. Of course, it's possible to miss such things when you're preparing a lot before a game. But as you can see here, 698 games continued with knight c5, and only 20 games were played with queen c6. So in that way, you can realize that queen c5 was, knight c5 was a better move. Okay, the other way in which you can prepare openings is by using this reference tab here. Once you make your mega database into a reference database and you click on this tab, then the same way the games are loaded here. As you can see, these are the games in this position that have been reached, but what is the added advantage of this over live database? Because mega database is in your computer, it's already on your hard disk, while live database is on the server. So for a mega database I don't need internet, but other advantage is that I can press VCS here. Basically it gives me all the annotated games in one shot. So when I press VCS, I get these games and I can open, let's say, any one of this, and these games are annotated, which is not there in live database. You can check here, for example, this game has been annotated by Shirov. I'm interested to see what are his annotations. It's a game of 94, so quite old analysis. There's also one game analyzed by Gelfand, who's played this, and you go through this with all the analysis and you learn a lot. So for me personally, getting sort of a rough picture for the opening, I use the live database by just pressing enter, and it loads the games here. It's very quick way to do it. And if I want a thorough investigation with understanding what's happening, I use the Mega Database 2020. If you want to just prepare chess, let's say if you are not a professionally serious player, then I would say get ChessBase 15 and you can use the live database along with it to prepare. But if you are a serious player and you need these annotated games, which are nearly 80,000 of them, a huge number, then go for ChessBase 15 and Mega Database 2020, and I'll be putting in the links of those so that you can have them in the description. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Thank you so much.